All right, starting with last night's game. It had to end eventually, right? I mean, there was no way the Knicks were just going to run up through the Spurs like they did the Sixers or the Cavs. There was no way the Knicks were just going to run roughshod and rampage through the entire playoffs and sweep it away right through the finals, running the table after they fell behind the Hawks 2-1, right? Well, because I've been saying the Spurs are not the Sixers or the Cavs. They're just not. And San Antonio proved their point last night with a massive statement win with their backs to the wall in the most hostile of environments. As I said on X last night, quote, that was a badass response by the Spurs. And it was a badass response fueled by legitimate championship grit and led from the front by the best player on earth who finally looked like the best player on earth last night. No implosion from Wemby this time. The alien unicorn rose to the occasion last night. He was locked in and he was aggressive right from the jump. He set the tone for the Spurs with a deadly combo of intensity and composure. Oh, and he got near the basket. They got into the paint. He got to the rim. He attacked the basket. Meanwhile, the Knicks. The Knicks were the ones who seemingly could not handle the moment. If anybody was rattled last night, it was the Knicks. If anybody looked like they lacked experience and they were young last night, it was the Knicks. Case in point, the Knicks kept chucking the ball to the other team or to, I don't know, anybody in the stands or to nobody in particular. That's not good. Cat went from arguably the MVP of that series to essentially an afterthought last night. That's not good. Mikal Bridges barely even showed up for that game. That's not good. Jalen Brunson had yet another rough shooting night, his third in a row this series. I said it before the series. As great as he is, if the Spurs could make SGA work as hard as they made him work, you knew they could do the same thing to Brunson. And they are. They have. They're making him work for everything that he's gotten so far, and they have forced him into plenty of bad spots. You know it's a problem when Josh Hart is the only one you can count on to make a shot. The only stretch where the Knicks looked like the winning streak Knicks was at the end of the second quarter. But then the Spurs absorbed their best shot, and they rolled with it. Now, if anything, that's the silver lining here for you, Knick fan. The Knicks still have not played their best game. They haven't played their best game in the series, and they're still up 2-1. And they're still at home. However, at some point, they're going to have to play that best game, and sooner than later, because it's looking like it's going to take their best game to close out the Spurs, especially if the Spurs have finally settled in. And they know they can win in that hostile barn. The fact that it's 2-1 and not 3-0, and they know they can win there because they just did, may have just changed everything. At least if the Spurs can keep up that effort and that intensity and edge from last night. Now, the one thing I do not want to hear, the one thing that I will not listen to today from you, Knick fan, is the one thing I'm saying every single time I hit refresh on my social media, and that's crying about the ref show. That game last night apparently turned all of New York City into a bunch of Marvin Freemans, including Knicks head coach Mike Brown himself. Now, you know me. I like Mike Brown. I've always liked Mike Brown. And I've been touting the job that he's done this season because I think it's far and away the best work he's ever done. Which is why I hate that he tried to make it all about the ref show as soon as that game ended. This is just a snippet, but he went on for about 5 minutes right off the top of his presser about this.
There were opportunities for fouls to be called to at least try to even the free throws out. Now, we didn't play good. San Antonio played great. We could have played better. There were a lot of things that we didn't do that we did in game 1 and game 2. But to go 24 free throw attempts in a second half, that's 48 for the game if you think about it the way that they called that second half, compared to 8. All the shots we took, we got fouled 4 times, roughly, for 8 free throw attempts. Again, I don't complain much. I never thought I'd see that in an NBA Finals game.
You don't complain much, but you're complaining a hell of a lot right there. My guy, I think you had it right when you said, quote, we didn't play good, and they played really well. There's your presser. Now you're done. You might not complain much, but you're complaining a hell of a lot right now. And the funny thing is, again, he said all he needed to say in the middle of that clip. There's no but, coach. That first part was the entire story. You didn't play well, actually, and they did play great.
Now, we didn't play good.
Well,
San Antonio played great.
Right. And you could have and should have played better. And there's a lot of things that you didn't do that you did do in games 1 and 2. That's the whole story. Instead, for some reason, we're talking about, quote, opportunities to call fouls, end quote, to even out the free throw disparity. What are we doing here? Mike, the ref show did not take that game from you. The Spurs did. The Spurs ripped that game from you. And in large part, you gave that to them when you turned it over 13 times, leading to 21 points for the Spurs. You take care of the ball. We're not having this conversation. We shouldn't even be having this conversation in the first place because the free throw disparity was not the reason why you lost, and neither was the ref show. The Spurs were the reason the Knicks lost. For some reason, you're having trouble getting your head around that, but your players aren't. Cat, for one, understood it. Cat, for one, owned it.
Is it like throughout the course of the game, dealing with that frustration, especially in such a high-pressure environment, and Mike talking about the discrepancy in second-half free throws?
No, that didn't cost us the game. Turned the ball over, didn't execute, didn't do what got us 13 straight wins in a row. That's how you lose a game. We didn't do what we've been doing for 13. We decided to do something different. It ain't going to work. And throwing the ball away is a clear indication of how you're going to lose a game, especially in the playoffs.
Respect and thank you. Reporters like, so is there frustration? You know, Mike talking about how there was this great disparity in free throws. Cat responded with, quote, that ain't why we lost that game.
Not a very good call.
Cat has become the most likable cat in the world, even if he didn't have his best game last night. And he's exactly right. Again, it was not the ref show. The Knicks did not execute. They did not execute, especially when it mattered most. They didn't do what brought them success for 13 straight games, and that's why they finally lost. To San Antonio's credit, they had plenty to do with all of that. That's part of the reason why I don't want to talk about the ref show, because I want to give the Spurs their bleeping credit.
Give them some
They changed
credit,
up on
I mean, for
offense. They adjusted. They're continuing to make Jalen Brunson's life as difficult and miserable as possible. And yes, they did up the physicality. I'm not denying that. And the refs are letting them play. There's no denying that. The Spurs went into that game with the intention of being as physical as the ref show was going to allow them to be. And the ref show allowed them to be pretty damn physical. That's just part of the game. That same dynamic existed in the Thunder series, and the Knicks cannot be surprised that the Spurs upped their physicality with their backs against the wall. What did you expect? They're down 2-0, and they're going on the road into the most hostile environment there is. What, are they going to lay down and cry? Of course they upped their physicality. Now, did Wemby get away with one when he shoved Brunson to the ground in the first quarter? Yes, of course. Did that cost the Knicks the game, though? No, of course not. All right, to be fair, he got away with 2. There was some mugging going on. I'll give you that. But that's not why they lost that game. And by the way, Knicks fan, just because your team got mugged on the floor is no reason for you to be mugging Spurs fans out in the street. Nobody wants to hear you crying, Knicks fan. Especially not after all those clips of moron Knicks fans accosting Spurs fans in the street after the game. I'm not going to glorify any of that bullcrap by showing it on the stream. But believe me, those clips are everywhere. They're not hard to find. And I don't give a crap if they're staged by influencers or what the hell they were. Nobody in New York City should be putting any hands on anyone wearing Spurs gear, period. It's pathetic loser behavior. It threatens to ruin this entire Knicks feel-good story. So if I'm going to play clips of you nuts when you're having fun and you've got that good energy, that's fine. Until you start running down Spurs fans and ripping their jersey off their back and assaulting them or accosting them. Nothing cool about that. Nothing funny about that. In fact, it's really reprehensible. I'm not saying it's the only place that happens. Just stop doing it.
This is shame.
It's not panic. It's not time to panic by any means in New York City. But the tone of the series has completely changed because the series is now a series. The Spurs are right back in it. And now we really get to see what the Knicks are made of. Yes, they have bounced back before. We've seen it. But not against these guys. So we'll see whether or not they can do that. Because for all their impressive accomplishments over the last month, even during the season, the one thing the Knicks have not had to do was bounce back from a loss against a team like this. And this was not just any loss. This was losing the biggest game on their home floor in decades with the president in attendance. That loss is going to sting. The Knicks response is going to be very telling. Just know, New York, you've got nobody to blame but yourselves. Oh, and the Spurs. You can blame them too because they were just better and more prepared for the moment, even though that was supposed to be the Knicks moment. The Spurs approached that impending Knick coronation last night like it was a giant LT hammer. Justice for Gino in the Garden last night. And now the curse has been lifted, the winning streak is dead, and we have ourselves a series. Good, man. I'm so glad about that. We have ourselves a series.